Hi there, it's Jacob, and I'm back here with LSC. So today I've got something special for you, another list video, and today's list video is about the 10 most dangerous pandemics in human history. Now, obviously COVID-19 is not the first pandemic that we've had to deal with, so this isn't our first rodeo. In fact, there have actually been a bunch of really big and disastrous pandemics that have plagued us for years. That's why today, in no particular order, I will be going over 10 of the worst pandemics in history. Number 1. Starting off with number 1, we have from 2002 to 2004 the SARS virus. The SARS outbreak was an epidemic. It caused several acute respiratory syndromes such as coronavirus. Yes, you heard that right. It was a coronavirus because coronaviruses typically they come from animals. So there was SARS-CoV and SARS-CoV-1. The outbreak was first identified in, I'm probably going to mispronounce this, but Fushan, Guangdong, China, on the 16th of November in 2002. Many of you, like myself, I remember that was, at the time everyone was talking about it. It was a huge thing. Now, not so much. However, over 8,000 people from 29 different countries and territories were infected, and at least 774 died worldwide. A major part of the outbreak only lasted 8 months. So the largest point of that outbreak lasted for 8 months. But the entire thing lasted for 2 years. Number 2. And coming in at number 2, we have the 2009 H1N1 virus, also known as the swine flu. The 2009 swine flu pandemic was an influenza pandemic that lasted about 19 months, ranging from January 2009 to August 2010. The number of cases of the swine flu ranged from 700 million to 1.4 billion. Let me tell you that one again. So there was 700 to 1.4 billion people that were infected. Now that was a huge thing. Okay, it infected a lot of people. The swine flu estimated to have killed 284,000 people. So, although it infected more people than the coronavirus, COVID-19, it definitely infected more people. Number 3. And coming in at number 3, we have the AIDS pandemic. Now, this was declared an epidemic in 1981, and AIDS have claimed an estimated 34 million lives since it was first identified. Now, the HIV, which is the virus that causes AIDS, is likely developed from chimpanzee viruses that transferred to humans in West Africa in the 1920s. Chopping up that chimp meat. Or, having intimate relations with a chimpanzee. We'll just leave it at that. Anyways, so the virus made its way around the world, and AIDS was a pandemic in the late 20th century. It is estimated that 40 million people live with HIV in Saharan, I'm probably butchering this, Saharan Africa. So it's quite a large epidemic, and it still exists to this day. Number 4. Okay, and now coming in at number 4, we have the 1918 Spanish flu. Now, this took place right after World War One, right when they were cleaning things up at the very end, and it continued well into the 20s, and this is one of the most deadliest pandemics to ever exist. Especially in modern times, this one was really, really bad. An influenza pandemic. It infected 500 million people worldwide. And it's estimated, now the records aren't 100% clear on this, but it is estimated between 50 million and 100 million people died from this pandemic. Absolutely devastating. Now, during the war, during World War One, the Spanish flu was responsible for the deaths of 100,000 active troops. Think about this: 100,000 soldiers died over there because of the flu, rather than combat. It's a pretty crazy concept. Now, the pandemic originated in Spain. Before spreading over to most of Europe and spreading worldwide, infecting and killing millions of people. So that's why we call it the Spanish flu, because of course it originated in Spain. Number 5. Coming in at number 5. Number 5, we have the American polio pandemic of 1916. A polio epidemic that started in New York City caused 27,000 cases and an estimated 6,000 deaths in the United States alone. The disease mainly affects children and sometimes leaves survivors with permanent disabilities. Polio epidemics occurred sporadically in the United States until the stock vaccine was developed in 1954. Number 6. Coming in at number 6, we have the Russian plague from 1770 to 1772. The Russian plague was a massive plague in central Russia, taking 52,000 to 100,000 lives. So it's unclear as to how many deaths actually occurred. We know that there was at least dozens. There may have been hundreds, there may have been thousands. The information that we gathered was a bit spotty at best. So there was so much civil unrest in Russia during the pandemic in Moscow in 1771, where a crowd in Moscow actually revolted against the Russian authorities and caused active rioting for 3 whole days before getting shut down. Sounds like what's going on today, huh? Number 7. Coming in at number 7 is the Great Plague of 1720. The Great Plague of Marseille was the last major outbreak of bubonic plague in Western Europe. Arriving in Marseille, France in 1720, the disease killed a total of 100,000 people, 50,000 in the city the next 2 years, and another 50,000 to the north in the surrounding provinces and towns. In fact, places didn't start to recover from the plague until 1765, when things started to get back to normal. Number 8. Coming in at number 8, we have the Black Death, one of the most famous plagues in history. The Black Death was a plague pandemic which devastated Europe from 1347 to 1352. It killed an estimated 25 to 30 million people. The disease, caused by bacterium and caused by fleas on rodents, originated in Central Asia and was taken from there to Crimea by the Mongols and their traders. The disease caused several symptoms such as swelling in the groin and armpits, the lymph nodes, which take on a sickening black color, hence the name, the Black Death. Now, it's thought that the rodent that was responsible for this was the large Norway rat. Information on it is a bit spotty. People, it is in debate as to if that was indeed 100% the source for that. But as far as we understand it, the Norway rat does seem to be the culprit for that. Interestingly enough, the Norway rat has infiltrated the entire world. It is everywhere. Originating from, obviously, Norway. It seems to have got on ships and made colonies, and it's everywhere. They are everywhere. They're typically the ones that you think of when you see them right off the bat and you see the very large rats. Those are typically those ones.
Number 9.
Next up, we have number 9, the Plague of Cry, from 250 to 271 AD. Now, this is a very old plague. From 250 to 271 AD, up to 5,000 people died each day in Rome, not from war and famine, but from a deadly pandemic that would later be known as the Plague of Crypan. There is also evidence that the disease spread as far as Egypt during the same time. The disease at the time caused people to vomit up blood, and eventually they would slowly lose their limbs to the disease and eventually die. A slow, agonizing, and painful death. No thank you. Just wanted to end quickly.
Number 10.
Coming in at number 10 is the Plague of Athens in 430 BC. If you thought the last one was old, this one, very old. In 430 BC, a plague struck the city of Athens, which was under siege by Sparta during the Peloponnesian War. In the next 3 years, most of the population was infected, and perhaps as many as 75,000 to 100,000 people, which at the time was 25% of the city's population, had completely died. So, they're in the middle of a siege, and 25% of their population dies because of a pandemic. That's the situation that they were in. It's really crazy to think about that. Originating in Ethiopia, it spread throughout the Mediterranean, and it spared no segment of the population, including the statesman Pericles. The epidemic broke in early May of 430 BC, with another wave in the summer of 428 BC, and in the winter of 427 to 426 BC, and lasted 4.5 to about 5 years. Okay, so that is our list of the 10 worst pandemics in human history. If you would like more awesome information list videos like this one, please, I ask you, please smash that subscribe button. Remember, hit the notification bell down below as well. This way, you'll always be able to see our content popping up. And remember, if you like this video, or if you have an idea for the next video, any thoughts or comments, comment down below, and I will read through all of them. This has been Jacob with LSC. Thanks for watching.